With Alden Chodash of AldenBoxing.com. This coming Saturday night, Alden, you'll be ringside covering the big Showtime doubleheader in Tampa Bay, Florida. Antonio Tarver takes on Clinton Woods, and Chad Dawson faces Glenn Johnson. Let's start off with the Tarver-Woods fight. Who do you think's going to win?
This is a matchup that I definitely picked Tarver easily about a couple years ago when Tarver was at his best. But I'm going to shift my opinion towards Woods' behalf, basically because he's a hard-working fighter. He's always had that persona throughout his career. I think he's reached his peak recently in terms of skill, and Tarver has definitely decreased in terms of conditioning. And I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with Clinton Woods throughout the course of 12 rounds, which indeed Clinton Woods is going to set at a very, very hard pace indeed.
So you think Tarver won't be able to, you think he may not go the distance?
No, I don't think Clinton Woods has the power to put him away, but I think Clinton Woods is going to beat him over a distance, but is going to have to give up quite a few of the early rounds to inflict some real damage. I'm expecting an outcome similar to the first fight of Glenn Johnson and Antonio Tarver, but I see a more decisive decision for Woods.
Okay, so Woods over Tarver. And what about Chad Dawson versus Glenn Johnson? Youth versus experience. Who do you like?
That's a much more easy matchup to pick. I think Dawson beats him basically because of youth and skill. Glenn Johnson hasn't decreased like Tarver in conditioning. He's always been a steady fighter. I just think Chad Dawson has too much speed for him, and this is a guy that's not going to fade over the distance. He's proved in tough fights that he's able to prevail and maintain a quick, fast pace. I think he'll beat Johnson.
Okay. Moving over to the Miguel Cotto and Cintron Margarito 2 fights that are happening on HBO this Saturday. Let's start off with Cotto versus Alfonso Gomez. I think you said that Cotto can't lose this fight. Is that true?
Definitely not. Gomez is a one-dimensional fighter, and that one dimension that involves putting pressure and breaking down guys is Cotto's specialty, really. And I can't see there's absolutely no way Alfonso Gomez is going to be able to hurt Miguel Cotto or break him down in any way. So two similar styles, one fighter who's much stronger, Miguel Cotto, and I think a very easy fight to pick in Cotto's favor.
Do you think it's going to go the distance?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And what about Cintron Margarito 2? Do you think Cintron can turn the tables this time?
No, I don't think so. I think Margarito's the more professional fighter out there. He's steady. Has very strong boxing skills. A very good puncher. He's not the quickest fighter, but he definitely makes up with that for good all-around skill as well as punching power. And Cintron has shown that he has improved, but he is still not the fighter I think he should be in order to beat Antonio Margarito and turn the tables on him in the second fight. I think Margarito's experience and professionalism pulls it out for him again in a tougher fight, but I think he may very well put him away.
And why don't you think Kermit can win this time?
I just don't think his skills have improved as much as would be required to beat Antonio Margarito. He's going to string his punches together under the tutelage of Emmanuel Stewart. I just don't think he's going to respond well to a guy that could take his punches and hurt him as well. He hasn't faced very good punchers since Emmanuel Stewart, and I think he's in for a big shock tonight.
On Saturday.
On Saturday, excuse me.
Assuming that your predictions are correct, who do you think would win Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito down the road?
I think Miguel Cotto would pull it out because of his boxing skills. It'd be a very good fight, and I'd love to see it come on later this year, and I think that's what they're aiming towards by doing this collision course. However, it's a very dangerous collision course, especially on Margarito's behalf, although I see both him and Cotto prevailing.
Okay. Rumored, it's not official yet, but rumored Vladimir Klitschko will take on Tony the Tiger Thompson. Do you think the American can beat Vlad?
He'd give him a very good fight, victory or not. He's a very savvy fighter. He's one of the slickest that Vladimir Klitschko probably has ever faced in his career, but he has a lack of punching power. And it'd also be a tough fight for Vladimir Klitschko because he's fighting a fighter that's another tall fighter who Vladimir Klitschko doesn't tower over and doesn't have such physical advantages over. But Tony the Tiger Thompson's been untested. He has a knockout over Luan Krasniggi, but I think his inexperience would give Vladimir the edge in this fight if it comes off.
Is this the first southpaw that Vlad would be facing since Corey Sanders? I'm not sure.
Sultan Ibragimov.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. It's so easy to forget, right?
And that fight you could throw out because of Ibragimov's lack of enthusiasm and offense in that fight.
And height, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you say Thompson does have a shot. He
has a better shot at many previous Klitschko opponents because he's slick and he's a tall fighter who knows how to use his boxing skills to his advantage.
Okay, rumored also is Dmitry Kirillov, Vic Darchinyan. At first glance, who do you think wins?
There's two different ways to look at it. Kirillov has the better skill. He can land the cleaner punches and win. But he has been hurt and dropped before. Luis Perez in a televised bout dropped him, won a controversial decision. But Dmitry Kirillov, I think, would be overpowered by Vic Darchinyan, but it'd be a very good fight.
Okay. And we will talk about this more next week, but you are still saying that Bernard Old Hopkins will beat Joe Calzaghe.
I think he will. I think Bernard Hopkins will beat Joe Calzaghe. He's faced many of these he's faced many different styles throughout his career, and I think he's going to look spectacular under Mackie Shillstone. He's going to look like he did against Antonio Tarver, and he's ready for any style. I think he's going to put forward a good performance, and I think he's going to beat Joe Calzaghe.
Okay. I mean, do you think? What do you think about Joe Calzaghe's competition up to this point, though? I mean, Jeff Lacey's been exposed, and but then again, he did dominate Miguel Kessler. Do you think Joe has ever faced a guy like Hopkins before?
No one really has. Miguel Kessler and Jeff Lacey, although they're very good fighters, they're one-dimensional fighters. Miguel Kessler is a very good technical fighter, but he doesn't have the slickness of Bernard Hopkins on the inside, and just especially on the inside, the angles that Hopkins gives you. Miguel Kessler is more of a straight-up fighter, and he's not as slick nearly as Bernard Hopkins, and that's a totally new dimension for Joe Calzaghe. I don't know how he's going to react towards it. I don't think Calzaghe is going to beat Hopkins just because of that point.
Okay, great. And that's for next week's edition. We'll go into it in even more depth. Thanks, Alden, for talking to us. Remember to check out aldenboxing.com and fightfan.com for more information. Bye-bye.